Hello, friends. This is Ruslan Bortnik and new analytical report on negotiation process between Ukraine and Russia and Ukrainian-Russian war at all. Of course, the main topic of these days is an urgent call or urgent Putin's call to Trump and a new round of negotiations between United States and Russia, which started again in Thursday. Why Putin called to Trump and what happened during this call, what positions did the side reach, and what is going on in general in this war we'll talking about in this short podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and please make your questions. It will be a big pleasure for me to give answers for each of these questions. So Putin called to Trump in Thursday, and it was very unpredictable call because even in 2 hours before this call, no one knows that it is planning. This alarming call is deeply connected with visit of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to United States, which is going on just right now. When the Ukrainian president was in his flight over the ocean, Putin called to Trump, trying to persuade him to don't become a Biden, to don't increase the support for Ukraine, especially to don't give Ukraine more weapon and, of course, tomahawks. In generally, they were talking near 2 hours and a half, and this dialogue happened after weeks of information and political humiliation from United States side or humiliation of Russian position. We are talking there a lot of statements which made Trump and his entire team during the last week that Russia is weak, Russia is paper tiger, Russian economy is exhausted and going to be collapsed, and so and so and so many other things. Trump even said that Russia had to end that war for 3 days or a week, but is not able to reach the end, and of course to win this war, even for 4 years now. But after this humiliation, which peaked when last days when Trump hadn't congratulated Putin with his 71st birthday, it was very remarkable. The personal attitude between these leaders was questioned after it. Because Russia was waiting for such a congratulation, but it hasn't happened. It was a peak, and after it, of course, this call from Putin's side looks very concessionable. Looks like Russia made some concessions towards the United States and make some softening its own positions in the dialogue and demonstrates some abilities to go deeper concessions to reach the peace. After this, we don't know exactly what happened. It happened during this 2 hours and a half dialogue, but the post in Truth Social, Trump's post, was very positive after this dialogue. Trump noticed that the telephone conversation with President Vladimir Putin was very productive one. Also, Trump mentioned that the conversation made a great progress on the issue of a peaceful settlement in Ukraine, and the next week Russia and United States will hold a high-level meeting. It will be headed by American Secretary of State Rubio, and this meeting between Lavrov and Rubio is going on right these hours, these days, and it looks like it is a preparation meeting before something bigger. What bigger we are talking about? We are talking about that the Trump also noticed that Trump and Putin will meet in person in Budapest, and then later Russian side underlined it could happen in 2 weeks or some more times. But of course, it's a quite sensational that that meeting with in person after Anchorage, Alaska, will happen in Budapest. And of course, Rubio and Lavrov will be preparing this meeting, and that's their role in this situation. So we have some, and of course, Trump said that he will notice Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, which he is meeting during the Friday in informal lunch in White House. He will notice Ukrainian President about the results and topics of discussion with Russian President. Also, in his later comments, Trump said that Putin was worried about the tomahawks, and Putin is not agreed. He very disappointed, but the Trump consideration of possibility to send this weapon to Europe, which could transfer this weapon to Ukraine. So, in general, we have a very specific situation, and it could be a significant pivot in the situation, but it could be also a game, a continuation of the game between the sides. Of course, Putin was trying to make an influence, negative influence, on the ability, on the essence of Trump's Zelensky meeting. Putin tried to make a situation when Trump will not be able to send tomahawks for Ukraine, but or at least postpone this decision, or to sign any other military and economical agreement with Ukraine, which could be accepted like a further escalation, or which could be accepted like a breakdown with negotiation with Russia. So it was a game against, this Putin's call was a game against, of course, Trump-Zelensky meeting. And Russia could also play a game to win some more time, because for even a few weeks, because it could be very important in eyes of the situation in the battlefield in Donbass region, when Russia is trying for all sources and for the all force is trying to capture the Pokrovsk, Mirnograd, and Kupiansk, very symbolic cities, to show Russian advantage in this war. But in general, a real breakthrough in peaceful settlement can only happen in few cases. First, if Putin withdraws his conditions, which were unacceptable in Kyiv, and agrees to ceasefire along the front line in exchange to some concessions and steps from Trump's and United States, for example, lifting sanctions or something like this. Second, if Trump agrees both to Putin's conditions for ending the war and to the need to encourage them to accept Zelensky. If neither the first nor second option happen, then Trump's positive tone in the message may be a kind of also informational technology. In the purpose of that technology could be an attempt to soften Russian position, to avoid a maximum escalation from Russian side. In situation if the Trump made the decision to send tomahawks for Ukraine, or to send additional financial and military support for Ukraine. Of course, Budapest is also a very important topic. Why Budapest? Because it's not easy to Putin to get the Budapest, which is surrounded by NATO's countries. But it is still possible, because Putin can use this Turkish road through the Albania, Kosovo, then Serbia, and Hungary, at least. But I think that that Hungary issue, that Budapest issue extremely important for not only from symbolic sides but also from real politics side. Nowadays, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is keeping a hard fight during the parliamentary election campaigns, which will be ending in the April next year. The difference between the ruling party Fidesz and opposition party TISA is not so much. But at the same time, and Trump and Putin both, they are willing that Orban could be re-elected, could save his leading role in Hungarian policy, which is the strongest conservative country in nowadays European Union and European party of NATO. So it's a sign of support to Orban. It's a try to build his position like a peacemaker, with a person with a huge external international reputation. Also, Hungary keeps some keys to the resolution of the conflict. We are talking about the keys for the transferring energy, oil and gas, Russian oil and gas through the Ukrainian territory to Hungary. We are saying about some contradictions between Hungary and Ukraine on minority and economical issues. And we are saying nowadays blocking from Hungary's side Ukrainian entrance to European Union, which could be also a piece of future peaceful settlement, Ukrainian accession to the European Union, but not to the NATO. All these small but very important keys now in the hands of the Orban of Hungarian government. And the other very symbolic, very important thing also is it's quite a geopolitical cycle. So-called Budapest Memorandum during which signing which Ukraine declined her nuclear weapon status in 1994. This memorandum replaced the place and role of Ukraine in geopolitical map 30 years ago. And this memorandum made a significant influence on the future of Ukraine and make a significant influence on the nowadays situation in Ukraine. So the memorandum, when Ukraine gave up all nuclear weapons for some assurances from international guarantees, but not guarantors, but not guarantees from international guarantors. So, because maybe nowadays it's an attempt to end this cycle and to go to the future in the past and to the Budapest again, to ensure to give Ukraine more realistic security guarantees, to replace this country on geopolitical map and to use it like a stabilization tool for all Eastern Europe. So the situation is very interesting, and it will be very remarkable how deep Putin and Trump were able to go. It will be very remarkable, the results of a meeting between the Trumps and Zelensky. If there will not be a significant result, it means the main Trump stack is on the Putin negotiation with the Putin. When it will be some decisions of accelerating Ukrainian defense capabilities, it means that Trump is not in a trust with the Putin, and Trump is continuing his tactics of humiliation and pressure to Russian Federation. Also, we'll be waiting for the straight in-person meeting between Putin and Trump, which will be crucially important for the future peace and the war, not only in the Eastern Europe, but also in all Eurasia. Thank you, friends, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and please make your comments, and see you next time.